I am not a journalist. I took 0 journalism courses when I was in college. I graduated with a degree in English education, and I enjoyed writing. In fact, my favorite course in college was something called personal essay. Now, if that course were still around, and maybe it still is, they would likely call it blogging, because a lot of what blogging is a personal essay. And I really love surfacing stories. My stories, your stories, your stories. We surfaced another story today, written by a guest blogger. And by the way, if you want to be a guest blogger on Locker Gnome, it's really not that difficult to do. All you have to do is have a story and write well. There's no in between there. So this is a guest blog post posing the question, is blogging the future of journalism? And I would argue that it's the presence of journalism. Even though, and I gotta be careful because this is like, stirring up a hornet's nest here, blogging is not journalism. I would say that better information is usually, conveyed with blogging than by journalists. And I'm going to, again, qualify that. I understand journalistic ethics, staying impartial, just relating the facts, but I have had so many run-ins with traditional journalists and today's idea of journalism where all they want to do is spin the story and your perspectives, your opinions, your thoughts to fit the story that they want to present. Over the years, I can tell that's been an ongoing frustration. I get a call from the New York Times, and I'm just pulling that out. That is an example. I'm not saying that they ever called me. I think I did a few stories with them. But inevitably, I'll get on the phone with a journalist, and they're asking me questions, and I give them my answers. And then they ask the question, but in a different way, as if my answer is going to change. And then they push to the point where they're trying to get me to give them the answer that they're looking for so they can get the quote to run with their story. Journalists do this not just newspapers, not just magazines, not just radio, not just television. Journalists do that. They'll spin the story, which isn't to say that bloggers don't. But another thing I notice, a big difference between bloggers and journalists, is bloggers will generally tell it like it is. I find bloggers far more impartial. Got to edit myself. I have the ability to do that, even if I'm speaking in video. What I'm saying is, if a blogger is going to write about something, they genuinely care about that which they're writing about. Seldom do you find that in a journalist. So many times, a writer will be hired for an outlet, a media outlet, and they're told, okay, you're going to write about electronics. But they don't know anything about electronics. They're not a geek. They don't know anything about gadgets. They only write what they're told or what they guess is pretty cool or going by trends set elsewhere. They're a hired gun versus a blogger who writes or talks about something that they genuinely care about. So to me, bloggers are closer to understanding the truth than journalists. And the difference, again, between these two, huge arguments, go around. Which is better, blogging or journalism? I think the lines are increasingly blurred. It's pretty easy for you to detect whether or not someone who's conveying information about a particular topic genuinely knows about the topic. One of the reasons why I usually don't talk about things that I don't know much about. Or if I do, I try to pull people in that can help me get a better understanding of what information I'm trying to convey. But I would never present myself as a journalist. I would never even present myself as a blogger. I'm Chris Pirillo, a multifaceted person with, just a crazy amount of experience. I would say a very deep background in presenting information. I enjoy talking about technology, not for the sake of technology, okay? I like talking about technology and how it relates to you, to real life, to business, to solutions. What's the point of just talking about technology? What's the point? Oh, you like knowing the latest and greatest. Fine. I'm more interested in, what does it mean? How is it relevant? That's how I like to approach the topic. So I'm not a blogger. I'm not a journalist. I'm not saying one is better than the other. But the question posed, is blogging the future of journalism? And my answer is, I certainly hope so. Because the state of journalism today is pathetic. I got an email. I don't know if I forwarded this on to you, but I forwarded it on to my dad. And the reason why is because the email that came in was from a media outlet, a very well-respected media outlet. and they were asking me to come on to their TV show and to give them an answer on something that happened recently with the technology or the consumer tech industry. And I had my own perspective. They said, is this really a game changer? And I responded and I said, no, not really. This is kind of par for the course. I mean, it's a given. Moreover, the situation was blah, 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 blah. And I kind of gave my own analysis and spoke my mind. I spoke my heart on the topic. They responded and said, okay, no, we're looking for someone who believes that. So they weren't interested in what I had to say. They were interested in finding someone who could underscore the way they wanted to spin the story. And pardon me for, making this loud noise here, but every single media outlet does it. Don't think because you have a favorite media outlet, they don't do it. They all do it. That's journalism today. So if you're asking me, is blogging the future of journalism? Again, I pray to God it is.